Oh, wow. Hey guys, Mr. Sorta Clean here. I want to give you a couple of tips for taking care of your car, bring your detail to the next level, while also saving you time and effort, whether you're an old head or a young kid. So let's get to it. So one small tip to start out with is when you're doing wheels, it's always best to get the wheel barrel first. And you might be like, why is that? When you spray the wheel, even with foam, the foam on the inside can start to run, especially when it's really hot out. So if you start with the wheel barrel, then you can really easily get where you spray the foam right away. And then you can come back and hit the outside of the wheel. And it's super simple. So that's one little tip for cleaning your wheels. And the reason this matters is because when you have the cleaner on the surface and you start agitating it, you're actually gonna spread a lot more of the cleaner around and get a better clean overall within the barrel. The second tip is when you're cleaning the inside of a car, it's always best to start with the inside console, because once you do this, you don't ever have to get back in the car again with your whole body. So while you're doing the inside console, your feet are going to be on the ground messing it up, mucking it up. So if you take care of all this dash area, all the wheel, all this inner console, then you'll have a really easy time just not having to ever get in the vehicle and not having to worry about your shoes tracking dirt in. The next tip is that some surfaces might not actually need to have cleaner on them if they're already pretty clean. And that might be confusing, so let me show you what I mean. So as you can see, this floor mat is dirty, but it's not exactly heavy with filth. And so instead of applying carpet cleaner and having to actually clean this, what I can do, I think you get the point. So I was able to clean this without using any cleaner, and that might seem like, well, you're not getting the benefit of the cleaner. But most of the time when you use extra cleaner on a surface that's already clean, you're probably not gonna get as good of a result. So you can see this is pretty dang clean just by brushing it, like super simple process. If you use cleaner very often and frequently, you can actually damage the surface more than if you just clean it with your tools and some normal methods, such as this. If I'm always using carpet cleaner, that's gonna soil my carpets with like liquid, and then I'm also brushing it. Whereas if I'm just using a brush, then that's a lot simpler, and I could always come back and vacuum. So you're gonna save yourself on money, you're gonna save yourself on a little bit of effort too, because you don't have to worry about spraying any cleaner, and then you're also gonna get a really great result without much effort either. So I highly recommend like understanding when you do need to use cleaners and when you don't. If it's like a pretty clean surface that maybe you just have some dust on there, or maybe you just have some crumbs, then you can just get away with vacuuming without using any cleaner, and that's awesome. Another thing is that if you're working outside, you're gonna have to realize that weather is going to affect how you work on your car. For example, if it's a really hot day, I'm gonna have to go really quick on my hand wash and foam and car wash phases, because if I don't, there's a chance that the water will dry up and I won't be able to easily get out those water spots. But on the other hand, if it's a really cold day, when I'm working on the interior and using a lot of carpet cleaner or interior cleaner or anything like that, then the inside of the car is going to be really damp for a lot longer because it's not evaporating because of the cold weather. And then there's also things like, wind blowing all your cleaner around. You got leaves falling into your car if you leave the doors open. There's just different factors that are going to affect how you detail your car outside. And I think the two most prominent are gonna be really hot weather and really cold weather. And you'll notice in really cold weather, you have to use a ton of microfiber towels to do the same things that you would in hot weather, where you need maybe 1 or 2, you need 5 or 6. When you're working on the outside of your car and you do a foam and hand wash, you might think, oh, I still need to clean the windows. But most of the time you'll find that you actually don't need to clean the windows at all, and they'll be perfectly clean as long as you dry them well. So it's really important that you dry your car really well. This might not apply to you if you have, this step may not apply to you if you use a DI water system. And what that means is it basically brings any contaminants out of the water, such as calcium or sulfur. By doing that, when the water dries, there's no residue left, and that's what you would call water spotting. So if you know you have a system like that, this isn't too important. But for you, those of you out there who need to dry your car, when you wash the exterior and dry it well, you do not need to go and clean your glass again. Maybe on the inside, but not on the outside. So if you are washing your car and you notice that water spotting does start to happen on the outside, there's actually a very simple solution if you're quick about it. And with quick, I mean within like 15 minutes or so. If you find there's water spotting, what you can do is you can simply spray some more water on the spot, just to keep it fresh. And then you can go ahead and wipe it up. And bam, any new water spots will be gone. This doesn't work for water spots that have been there for probably more than an hour, but if you're relatively quick about it, then you won't have to worry about water spotting. So what I'll do is when I'm washing my car, or any car really, if it's a warm day, I'll just make sure to hit the car with some more water on all sides, just real quick while I'm working around the car with foam or other things like that. Just helps me to make sure I don't get any water spotting anywhere on the car while I'm doing my hand wash or whatever else I'm doing. You don't have to be so scared about water spots. So when you're hitting your car with foam, you might think, oh, I can use the foam as a nice safe hand wash. But really what you want foam to do is you want it to pick up any dirt off the surface and carry it down onto the ground so that when you come back with a pressure washer to wash it, all that dirt is either on the ground already or it's being patted by the foam itself. So when you see really thick foam, that can be a good thing because when you pressure wash, the dirt will be cushioned by that foam so it doesn't slam into the paint. But you can also have really good runny foam too, where it just brings that dirt off. So it all depends on what type of foam you have. I have the Built Hammer Auto Foam in here, and this stuff is great because it's acidic and it'll pick up that dirt off and run it right off. But if you use something like the Adams Mega Foam that's really thick and cakey, then that one, isn't gonna run off as well, but it's going to cushion any of that dirt. Which one I like better? I personally like the Built Hammer better, but that's just my bias showing. That's just a little tip for foam. You don't need to really be in a rush about it. Just make sure you're taking your time and you're letting the foam do its thing. So when you're drying your car, it's actually really important to hit the glass and the mirrors first, because if you don't, that's where you're gonna notice water spotting the most. So make sure after you wash your car that you hit those first or get them dry first. And anything that's chrome or really shiny is also going to get water spotting. So those would be the most important areas to get. When it comes to detailing, there's only really 3 big pieces of equipment you're going to need if you want to do a good job. And you don't need all of these, but with these 3, you'll be able to do any car really well. First, obviously a vacuum. You can get all the carpets and clean up any of that dirt that's in the car. The next is a steamer. Steamer is a really big one. You'll be able to get into any cracks and crevices, get any goopy stuff out of like seats, and just a really generally good tool. However, if you are in a colder climate, you might have a hard time using a steamer, or near impossible time, because the water gets frozen in the line, or if it condenses back into liquid and it's not really useful because of that, because it'll be too cold to actually clean well. Then the third is gonna be your pressure washer. This one's not really necessary, but foaming is a lot of fun.
He was special.
I highly recommend it because you'll just get a lot better of a clean on the outside of the car, and it'll be a lot safer of a clean also. Like I've said in videos before, you only really need one that's gonna be high GPM. You don't need super high PSI or anything. I use the 40-degree tip on a 1,800 PSI pressure washer. So I don't know what PSI it's putting out on the 40-degree, but it's a good thing. I didn't mention this before, but the ideal, I didn't mention this before, but the ideal temperature for detailing your car is going to be anywhere from that 60-degree Fahrenheit to 70-degree Fahrenheit range. That's where you get good evaporation, but it's not so quick that you have to work really fast. There you have it, guys. That's a couple of detailing tips from Mr. Sorta Clean himself. Just a couple of quick ones for you. Nothing too complex or crazy, but if you are getting into detailing, whether it's your own car or other people's cars, I think this will help you improve. And I hope you can kind of look at this and improve even on what I'm saying already. I look ridiculous, this stuff in my hair, it's like hairspray, so all my hair is all sticky now, and it doesn't even work that well. I don't know how it's going to show up in the video, but my hair looks still black to me, and I used the whole can of white hairspray. So yeah, I had a little bit of fun with this. I keep like touching my stash and it's all like sticky. Okay, that sounds sus. Pause. There's a lot more tips that I could share, and I'll probably try and make more of these with time, but I just wanted to start out simple and do something that I could do because I have to get this out tomorrow. Today's Friday, so yeah, I didn't give myself a lot of time for this, unfortunately, but I'll try and, it's hard to do all this stuff sometimes, all right, guys? Like, cut me some slack. Anyways, I look hella weird. I just tried to like spray it on my eyebrows. It kept getting in my eyes. Maybe I'll show the video of me trying to do it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Heaven's fire. What an idiot. Had a little bit of fun with this one. Yeah, I hope you guys could take away a few good tips. I've already said it like 14 times. There's a lot more to be said, and I'll try and keep these types of videos coming out because I think they're actually pretty useful, not just for you guys, but also for me, because I get to kind of think about ways to do better and also how to better communicate that as well. So like I always do, I'm just gonna, let you guys, if you want to, you can watch me clean the rest of the wheels. Nothing too exciting though, so. I just full on karate kicked my bumper. Man, I can't stop abusing that thing. Sorry, I've just been like thinking. I totally forgot I was recording, to be honest. It's like thinking about other tips I could give you guys. Already got a few in the brain, the cranium. You can see I'm using the barrel stuff first. Actually does help a lot. Something I only recently figured out too. It's nice because you also get like the edges where the barrel brush actually hits the rim. So you don't really need to like go that crazy when you're just doing the outside of the rim. If there's a lot of like ledges, the barrel brush will most of the time get all those. I mean, really when you're doing the wheels, you just want them to look clean on the outside mostly. That's kind of what I try to go for. And by the way, all these things that I, showing you about detailing, it really does come from the heart. Like I've been through a lot of trial and error, and I haven't like really destroyed a car or anything, but sometimes I'd find myself like cleaning something twice or doing something more than I really needed to. So it's like kind of frustrating to me. So I just wanted to reduce some of your frustration if you're out there listening. And they're all relatively easy things to follow too. It's just gotta make sure to apply them and remember them and all that. Let me get you guys over there. You kind of missed the prime time, but it doesn't matter. So guys, while I'm just wrapping up here, thanks for sticking around. I thought this was kind of fun, and informational. All right, you guys don't need to watch this, so let's cue the outro. I'm Mr. Sorta Clean, and I'll see you guys later. I love you guys.